Welcome to another edition of Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast. I'm your boy Chris G, and today we got a special guest in the building, MMA fighter Justin the Fort Sumter.
Thanks for having me.
So we're just gonna get right into it. Justin, we're just gonna ask him a few questions, and you got Bellator 153 coming up.
Yes, sir.
Is this your first Bellator fight?
Yeah, this is my first Bellator fight, and it's my first pro fight, so I'm pretty excited about this one.
Now, your record is 9-4, not 9-4-1, correct?
Yeah.
But this is like your first like official
professional
fight.
So all those other fights, I don't want to say they don't matter, but everything's squashed. I'm 0-0 right now.
Okay, so it's kind of like, well, like in the first season of the UFC show, Not Tough Enough. What's the name of the UFC show?
Ultimate Fighter.
Ultimate Fighter, right. It was like the first season, like they all kind of had records, but then once they went to the UFC, they kind of had like a different record.
Yeah, well, like, a lot of the promotions, they show, like, the UFC, they have, like, a UFC record or a Bellator record. And then, another stat would say their overall record. So.
Okay. All right, so you're fighting Tim Karen.
Yes, sir.
And I'm assuming he's a fairly new fighter as well.
Well, he has 3 fights, 3 pro fights, 4 amateur fights, so 7 fights total.
Okay, so y'all coming in around about the same.
I would like to say it's more or less. I have a little bit more experience than him because I have 14 fights total amateur. He has 3 fights pro, 4 fights amateur, so 7 fights in total. So kind of fought twice as many times as him. So.
Right, so it's safe to say you feel pretty confident about that W about to get. Okay, I can roll with that. I can roll with that. So going into this fight, let me just get a little bit of background about your mixed martial arts training. I looked you up and it said you were a kickboxer, but then I started watching some of your fights and I see you doing great groundwork. So just give me a little background.
First off, I started as a wrestler. I wrestled in high school, 3 years in high school, and after high school, I went to college, didn't really do anything for 2 years, and then I kind of picked up jiu-jitsu. And then from jiu-jitsu, like a month after doing jiu-jitsu, one of my friends I trained with was like, hey, you want to do an MMA fight? I was like, yeah, I could do that. Mm-hmm. And so, I did that, knocked the guy out in a minute, 30 seconds, so,
Well, listen, I saw some of your highlights. You got a mean right. I want to say I saw you knock somebody down with like 3 quick rights. And then he started staggering. Yeah. Then you hit him with the left uppercut. And I said, I ain't talking too much shit on this podcast. Like, this is real.
Yeah. I coined the triple hook.
There it is. Yeah. It was very impressive. And you just watching some of your other fights, you look like you're pretty well rounded and that you're ready to definitely move to that next level. So you fight at 185.
Yes.
So you're a middleweight. So I don't want you to look past this fight because, you got to win this dub and you're obviously on the rise, but, who do you want to fight? Who's your dream fight to fight?
Man, I want to fight everybody. But, the one fight that I really like, well, two fights, I would have to be, Luke Rockhold or Chris Weidman, man. Those guys are on the top right now. Yep. And, I think their styles are great and I think I'm a great matchup. Don't want to shortchange either Jacare Souza or Romero because those also are great fighters. I would like to fight them as well. So, and I like to fight Michael Bisping. Just beat Michael Bisping up. Feel pretty good.
Well, I'll say this: I like Luke Rockhold. I am not a fan of Chris Weidman. I felt like Dana White put him on an unjust pedestal because I felt he kind of got lucky in those Anderson Silva fights. I won't dive too much into it. A win is a win. A win is a win. But, I thought Anderson Silva kind of took him lightly the first fight.
Yes.
And then he broke his leg the second fight. So, but whatever. But I would love to see you whoop up on Chris Weidman. That'd be great. I'm not going to lie to you. So, so you've been doing MMA for about how long?
I started 2011. So give or take 5.5 years. So.
You're coming along. So your first fight in Bellator. So I guess my main question would be, are you looking to stay in Bellator or do you want to eventually move to MMA as MMA, if you want to move to UFC, is that like the main goal for everybody or?
Well, now I think it's, like a lot of people, when they fight, they want to go to the UFC because that's, ultimately what you see out there, Mm-hmm. When people say, "Oh, you do that UFC thing," they really mean MMA,
MMA,
but
right.
UFC is just that brand that's kind of, ingrained in people's head. I just want to be in the best promotion. I mean, right now, Bellator is a well-established, they're on the rise, and it's a really good promotion. So, staying with Bellator, it's not a problem for me. If they give me the right number, definitely stay with them.
I mean, you're fighting on a big card. It's going to be the debut fight for Ben Henderson, which is a favorite of mine. If you listen to the show, he's my favorite UFC fighter. And we were talking off camera. They signed Wanderlei Silva. They got what's his name?
Chris Lieben. Yeah, they got a lot of good people they just signed. So, these upcoming months, it's definitely going to be I would say a Bellator year, what I mean?
So this is going to be, if there's any fight to kind of show how good you are, this would be a great fight for you to kind of solidify.
Hey, all I got to do is, the training, is going to be all done. Only thing I got to do is go in there and perform, and that's what I like doing. So
that sounds really good. So I got a couple bones to pick, and since I got like an MMA guy with me, I think it's time that we kind of dive in.
All right, let's do it.
What are your feelings? Because if you're a fan of the show and you listen to last week's episode, I kind of went in on Dana White, how I think he's just bringing down the UFC. Because I feel like the UFC is obviously the pinnacle. As you said, people say, "Oh, you do the UFC thing," and they don't say MMA.
Yeah.
So I'm like, UFC is kind of what people identify with mixed martial arts, and I just feel the way that he's running it, if given time, he's going to run it down to the ground. Bellator will eventually become, the marquee name for MMA. So what are your feelings about Dana White? And just, remember, he could possibly see this. So,
Dana White, you're awesome. But, I think, Dana White's a businessman, and it's all about the decisions you make. He made the decision to ultimately get the Reebok sponsorship. And, ultimately I think that's driving a lot of, fighters away, and the fans. Cause, the fighters, they were getting a lot of money with sponsorships, a lot of money. And, getting the deal where, it's by the number of fights you make and about how much money off that. A lot of fighters don't like that.
Yeah. Cause, something that I brought up in our last episode was that, with this Reebok deal, it's kind of, you're going to get what we give you.
Yeah.
And before, you can have tons of sponsorships, and to have those and to kind of show them off on your banner and to show them off on your tights could bring you a lot of extra money.
Yeah.
Seeing is that if you're not, the top tier fighter in the UFC, what is you getting? I see some fights guys get 8,000, 5,000, 6,000. Yeah. I mean, you could double, triple that if you got the right kind of sponsors and you're on the rise and everything. So I would assume that, a fighter of your caliber, like just getting in, I know obviously you're doing it for the love, and that's, mixed martial arts is what you love to do, but you're trying to get paid too.
Yeah. It's not bad, going there, especially me. Like if you look at my fights, a lot of them don't get past the first round. So if I could get paid to go in the cage for less than 5 minutes and get paid from it, I would like to do that.
I would imagine you would. So to stay on the Dana White subject, McGregor, well, just his business decisions here. McGregor Diaz, we were talking a little bit about that. Your thoughts on how they're marketing the second fight. And before you even get on that, how did you feel about the first fight? A lot of people were kind of shocked that, Conor lost to Diaz in the fashion that he did. Let me get your thoughts on how you felt the first fight went, and then how do you feel that they're, how do you feel that they're pushing this second fight into the public?
Well, I thought the fight went how it's supposed to be, because you got Conor McGregor moving up in weight class, and he's like, he's a good competitor, and he knows he's good at what he does. But, at certain levels, you have to realize that you can't fight the same way. So he came up to 170 pounds and was going to fight like he was a little guy, and your muscles just get tired. And I knew Diaz's cardio, even though he wasn't in the camp, could definitely outpush him. And it clearly showed, once he got in that rhythm he usually gets into, the first round was kind of like, man, I just got to get in my rhythm. He took the shots, they were good shots, but, he's taken a beating over his years, because he's been in the UFC, I think, since 2001.
Right. Because he was on the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And he won his season. So, I think that was a good step up for him, just to show people he's not no slouch. What I mean? He went in there and he did what he had to do and he beat him. what I dislike about how the UFC is presenting this fight is the fact that they're not looking at Diaz beat Conor McGregor. They're like, oh, Conor McGregor lost to Diaz. So they're looking from Conor McGregor's side, even though Diaz won. And it's like, he wasn't supposed to win, so let's not talk about him. Let's just talk about Conor McGregor.
Right.
And then they're pushing this fight again. So, ultimately if Conor McGregor wins, it kind of pushes out the fact that he lost to Diaz in that first fight.
Right. And it almost seems like they really didn't. Well, we know it doesn't seem like that. They didn't want Diaz to win. This was supposed to be almost a setup fight for maybe Conor McGregor to fight a Robbie Lawler.
Yeah.
Or, the fight for a belt in that division to be. I know he wants to be a 2-division champ, but he kind of skipped. Kind of skipped the division. And I always thought that might have just been a little bit too big for him.
Yeah, a little bit ambitious. Yeah, too ambitious.
Yeah, not the spot or the moment, because I feel like McGregor is a good enough MMA fighter that he can compete, but just to jump from 145 all the way up to 185. I mean, 170. Yeah. I'm sorry, 170. I mean, that's a big jump.
Yeah, that's a big jump.
And he didn't even come in at 170 on fight. Wasn't it like 168?
Yeah.
So I don't even know if he can handle, that type of.
You know what I mean? Not to say he can't handle it, if he prepared, because, that fight was a learning experience on him. So, I don't put it past him that he's going to go back to the drawing board and it's like, if I want to fight this way, I'm going to have to do this, that, and the other. And, he's going to come back better than he was. So being that type of competitor he is. So I think, it was a great learning experience for him, but, stick to one weight class above yours and, we see how you do with that. And then, hey, if you're winning on that, hey, all the power to you, go up to the next one. I mean,
listen, everybody can't be BJ Penn. You know what I mean? Like, everybody can't be BJ Penn. I mean, what he did was something that people don't normally do. That you didn't call him the prodigy for nothing. But, so, you know what? We might as well stay with that. We might as well stay with that card, since that was a big night for UFC. The fight before that was the Miesha Tate Holly Holm fight.
Yeah. I mean, like, I knew from the moment that it started and, Miesha Tate took her down, she did this sick transition to her back, and I was like, hey, Holly Holm can't be on the ground with her. She can't be on the ground. So she stood up like the main fight, and she was winning the fight. She did what she had to do, but you got Miesha Tate.